yearn. You yearn for horizons unexplored, for fellowship and purpose, for a cause worth dying for. To you, we can promise magic.
Football's coming home. It's coming home. It's coming home. It's coming. Does that annoy anyone? Is that annoying? Are you ready? Because you're about to hear a lot of it, baby. Hello, everyone. Welcome. To another episode of Guild Wars 3 Daily. It's episode 17 for the 4th time in a row. No. I was just pointed out in Discord, I've been naming all of these day 17. We've been caught in some kind of time warp, and I hadn't noticed. No, we're actually on day 20, and it's late. It's late as all balls. It is midnight. It is 12:30 a.m. It is the pitch black of night, as much as it gets that here in summertime, and it is the cool, crisp 23 degrees Celsius in the middle of the night, and I'm boiling, and I'm sweaty, and it's humid, and everyone's annoyed and upset. But hey, I think the group stages have just finished for the World Cup. So yeah, that is why it's so late today. I had the option of doing it earlier, but I was asleep. So yeah, the game didn't finish until like literally 1:45 to midnight or something. So finished that, came upstairs, I won't spoil the result or anything for anyone, don't worry. And then yeah, here we are. So today, guys, on Guild Wars 3 Daily, I got a little bit of a Q&A section, which I've just rushed together. So I don't know how much great discussion we'll really get out of it. But if I don't do it today, I mean, yesterday we just covered Mistforge. We actually axed the daily section, the Q&A section. And if I don't get to it now, I'm gonna have like 4 fucking videos worth of things all built up. Today I want to cover another thing that I've been very excited about, but I haven't really seen or done anything with just yet. Let's bump the master volume up. Is the Guild Wars 1 Reforged balance patch, and there was a player standing here just now who was Melandrew and Doom and Reforged, but who cares about Reforged? But there was a Melandoom character here. This is Perdition Rock, guys. They're pretty far into prophecies here. That was quite cool. I think they were a ranger, and I was hoping they'd still be standing here after the intro was done, but I guess not. So yeah, I don't know how long this episode will be. The skill update looks ridiculous. It looks very cool. It is very, very surreal to know that we're a few seconds away from doing like a Guild Wars 2 style patch note video, but for Guild Wars 1. Just absolutely crazy. Very, very exciting. And for the rambling, wandering footage in the background, what do I do? How do I reach these kids? I don't know. We'll just we'll run around Lion's Arch or something. Hello to everybody who's actually made it in the live chat. I tend to think of these as very dead hours, but I guess we've just kind of shifted over into American time slot here, really. 32 is like 92 Fahrenheit. I think that might be a bit high. Is that 89 or something like that? Yeah. During the day, I've been loving the weather. I'll say it again. I've said it a few times. I'm not bitching in general. I really like the hot weather. It's so often dark in the UK and overcast in the UK that I'll take every... You know, we had like a big heat wavy sort of thing going on, what, in May as well? Or was it April? I think it was as early as April. I don't know. That all blurs together because of the fire at that point. But, yeah, I liked it then. I like it now. And I'm sad to see that tomorrow, literally starting from tomorrow, there's a 6-degree temperature drop tomorrow. Oh, I've got to love the lighthouse of Lion's Arch here. So yeah, I might try and go on a quick little trip to the beach or something sometime next week, if the weather's a bit more tolerable. Mesmer found dead in a ditch. Yeah, so this is really exciting. They've actually nerfed Energy Surge. I don't know what the nerf is. I think it's something like... Did Peter ever just do that? I can't remember whether Peter ever loaded up on stuff like that. I don't think he did. Let's see what his Norgu and his Gwen are running. Shall we see? Oh, he did. Okay. Target foe loses 10 energy. For each point of energy lost, they take 7 damage. I see. So that number has dropped. And all nearby foes take 75% of that. That's interesting. And that looks like that's coded a little bit different to what I've seen in other Guild Wars 1 skills. Was it only that? Is Unnatural Signet still just as strong? Cry of Frustration? Mistrust? I mean, these are all fucking huge, huge skills. I don't really agree with the empathy pick there. But okay. Right, so we're going to get into that. Let's do the questions, though, first. Let's talk a little bit about Guild Wars 3, just to justify the name. And let's see what we got here. So, starting off with Shiniest Script. And you guys just had some good info here over the past couple of days. Again, not that I've dug out the best of the best comments, and there are a lot of very good, meaty subjects, to be honest, guys, that I've elected not to do. Why? Because it's the middle of the night, and I just want to get to the balance, kind of. But the Shiniest Script... Hold on, let me put my glasses. I can't read that. The monitor is too far away from my eyes. There we go. In response to who is this? Oh, yeah, some of the characters in the Mistforged footage yesterday. Mistforged? Mistbound. Why do I keep saying Mistforged? What is that? Sorry, I've got a little smudge on my lens. I'm going to give it the old breathe and then wipe with the shirt. I don't know why I keep saying Mistforged. Because of Reforged? Surely not. Anyway, in response to who it is, the female Asura with the Fractal Legendary backpack is Dessa. You think Dessa was in that? And all of those were characters? They were Stronghold characters? Nika, Churai, Grimsvard, and Tybalt? Wow. Wouldn't it be amazing? It was funny when I saw, like, the... What are they called? Commanders or whatever. When I saw the major characters they picked for the game, it made me think of Stronghold. But as I mentioned, I tried not to talk about it too much because it feels like it's It's the Boss Baby thing. Oh man, who's only seen Boss Baby? This movie reminds me of Boss Baby. But maybe they are directly referencing that. That would be kind of cool to see that game reference something that fringe. The Infinity Ball is not fringe among lore nerds, but it's pretty fucking fringe. Man, that was a cool bit of the trailer. All right, Winding Twilight says WP was deadly serious with his yearning in this episode. I was. I just want to reflect on yesterday's Mistbound episode, guys. I'm genuinely excited and interested in that game. There are things that scare me off of it, but there's mostly just fears that it won't be successful and therefore not worth looking into. It's the whole chicken and the egg thing. But, you know, we have to push that aside and we just have to play what we want to play and love what we want to love and hope there's a community for it. And, you know, far be it from me as well, as a content creator, I suppose, to just immediately piss all over it. Because, you know, that's cutting off your nose to spite your face to a large degree, right? So, yeah, I'm excited. I genuinely would want to play that. I hope it gets a community. I hope it doesn't shrivel up and die. That's always the fear with those games, but yeah. Next, what do we got? We've got Reaping 6912. Yo, WP, about your pond in the heat and the water's getting evaporated. Toss some Amazon frog bit in there or water lettuce. The surface cover of floating plants will block sun from cooking the pond. It will keep the water cooler and from evaporating, take up excess nutrient from waste, prevent fouling water and algae growth. Yeah, you're right, actually. And the frog bit and water lettuce, these are things that I'm very familiar with from just keeping aquariums. And I've tried it many times with aquariums, but they tend to die. I think because I always have quite a lot of surface agitation from my bubblers and stuff. But in the pond, it's definitely a good idea. Of course, it also kills your viewing angles. And what he's also not mentioned here is these are incredibly hardy, incredibly prolific plants that spread like mad. So once you put them in, don't expect to ever get them out. You think you might think, oh, I'll just take a net and I'll net them. No. That's it. It's over, man. Game over, man. Game over. So yeah, something to think about, and could do that. However, again, the point is that works can now be conducted and hopefully can get water running pretty soon. The other option, I think, has always also just been to go to the neighbors and say to them, hey, can I have your hose for a second, please? But you're kind of spending their water, I guess. I don't know whether that's a bit of a liberty. Then again, when your property burns down, it tends to be people are very friendly and very nice. I'll give you guys a story, actually. There's a weird thing I didn't talk about with the fire thing. I'm not religious. And while my general worldview with all things, right, is live and let live. As long as people are not doing things to harm one another, I don't give a fuck about what people do, right? What they think, what they feel, what they do in their own time. It doesn't matter if they are acting in a way for society that if everyone acted in that way, society would continue, then it's all good, right? That's how I feel, right? So, ostensibly, I'm not religious, but I'm totally fine with it. But I've got to be honest, right? I've got to be, serious about myself, and I've got to be introspective. I do also, and I think a lot of people have this, I do have a lot of cynicism about organized church and organized religion and the kind of behaviors that they propagate. And you know, you look at the scandals over the years, not to get too specific or whatever, and I am a bit of a sneering cynic, right? Like, that is in me. I am, if I really look deep at myself, if I look deep down, I kind of don't look on the church and organized religion in a favorable way at all. The way I act is a very live and let live type thing, but I do have that sort of sneering attitude about it. And that sneering attitude, as I've gone through my life, has probably got stronger and stronger. Not that it's a major thing, but I think I'm just trying to be honest about myself, right? Like, I think that's in there somewhere. And I think maybe there's a good reason for it to be there. There's probably a lot of people listening to me right now thinking, yeah, fucking right, you should be, blah, blah, blah. But I have to say, all right, as far as, and anecdotes aren't worth much, I have to say, though, in the fallout of this fire, it's church-going religious people that have unfailingly been unbelievably generous with their time and their kindness and their help. You know, helping find properties, helping with moves, offering stuff that they have. You know, like if you have no knives and forks, right? You have absolutely nothing. You know, that like it's been like church types that have been really, 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 really fucking grade A, incredible, nice people. And it's been a real experience for me, I think, honestly, where I've sort of looked at myself over this year and I've thought, you know what? Maybe think a little bit more fondly about these communities and these people, because they have been fucking solid. And I don't know. There's obviously a lot to talk about with a topic like that. And we're just here for Guild Wars 3 Daily. We're just here for Guild Wars 3 commentary. So let's move on from all of that. But that's something that I thought was kind of interesting over this year. For me, I think I've grown. I've changed a little bit based on that. Moving on. Yeah, Algae, Frogbit. How did we get from that to that? I've got no idea. Moving on. Charles Dickens, 1803. Oh, yeah, I was talking about generosity of strangers and people you don't know and all that shit. Yeah. Charles Dickens, 1803. It's wild to see how into this WP seems to be. Mr. Bound, that is. I'm happy for him. But to me, this is everything I don't care for. A China-only card game. Isn't even developed by Arenanet. Most likely will have horrid monetization. I can only see this turn out to be a flop. Honestly, it doesn't look unique enough as far as card games go. And I don't think Guild Wars is a big enough IP to make up for that. But who knows? Maybe it's cheap enough to make that it will be worth it for them. Yeah, so there you go. You saw all my authentic, beautiful yearning. And here's Debbie, here's Nancy to bring it down. I don't know, man. Let's just pretend. Just imagine for a second it will do well. Imagine for a second it will come to the West. And I think there's good enough evidence it will. I mean, Jesus, they put some effort into making sure we know about it here and translating a lot of that stuff. Even if it's been Porgal. Porgal still really makes me laugh. Apparently, so I think I might have even got this as a comment. I think it's because like Korean doesn't have an F. Is that right? And they often become P's. Is that right? I don't know, man. Maybe only China will get the horrific monetization. You never know. You never know. Moving on. What else we got? Tinky Winky 6. This was a weird one. There's some comments I've got here today, guys, where I'm going to go to bat. I'm going to go to town. I'm going to go to town on some of your asses. And not in a good way. All right? Yeah, get your bingo cards out. Buddy, ... If your Crichton characters are white, that's a choice you made. Just Tinky Winky 6. Tinky Winky. Have you never heard of an NPC? What exactly is an NPC to you? Do you think that the Crichton aesthetic is made up entirely of playable characters? Or is it perhaps maybe there's just a small chance I would go there if I could. Mind you, we're in Guild Wars 1 here, right? There's a small chance, right, that the NPCs had all their tribal tattoos go away, right? And were bleached, let's say. That's a crazy comment to me. What? I'm moving on. X marks Eden says, just a quick comment on the RuneScape quests. We had a couple of you guys, couple of RuneScape fanboys out there. Oh, BR Speed's here with a donation. Thank you very much. He says, not that important, but Cossage pointed out yesterday that the Asura from the Mistbound art is probably Kelvai, not Dessa. Ooh, I don't know who to believe. Oh, I don't know now. I think you guys need to get in the ring. The one with ad infinitum in the Mistlock Observatory. Hair is very close. Right. Well, I don't know who that character is. Is that just a generic fucking... Is that the I'm demonstrating the legendary to you kind of NPC? Is that what that is? In the Mistlock Sanctuary? Look, maybe... well, I don't deny, right? One of the reasons I'm so excited about Mistbound is completely artificial, completely superficial. Ooh, there's an Etin! And seeing the art, right? So maybe I should be really excited about that, seeing, like, random-ass NPCs. I can tell you that I would be excited to see random-ass NPCs from Guild Wars 1, just because I recognize them. Like, if First Watch Sergio was in there, right? Or Galrath. Or Magi Malaguaya. Oh, God, that would be good. Hell yeah. So maybe there's some Fractal nerds out there that would get a kick out of seeing Kelvai. I don't know. Maybe. But I'm just not feeling it. Alright, X marks Eden. Just a quick comment on the RuneScape quests. I have 20 plus years of RuneScape experience. It was my first ever MMO. Yes, the quests are top notch in both RuneScape 3 and old school RuneScape. If you care to... Are they good in that new... Isn't there... There's another RuneScape Wildlands? RuneScape... Mist Wilds? Forge Wilds? What is it? Reforged Wilds? I can't remember what it is. But there's another RuneScape game now, isn't there? If you care to read the dialogue and not space barring through it, there are so many fun interactions. Doing a WP OSRS playthrough purely on quests would be absolutely peak content. There you go. I gave you guys a fucking horrible voice there. God. Do you know what that voice I just did? That voice is the voice that Scottish people give English people. That's what that voice is. Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea. I really do. I love the idea of doing a RuneScape series. But unfortunately, we're booked for the next 18 months, don't you know? We're booked on Guild Wars 3 Daily. I don't know. We'll see where things go. I think I've got another one here. Diderus says, RuneScape absolutely has the best questing. Some of them can be extremely complicated. They really make you think through problems. They also have some funny moments in the newer quests due to the prolific use of quest guides, the internet wikis. Most quests in this game require certain items throughout the quest, and if you show up to the quest giver already having everything, because you looked up what you'd need beforehand, the NPCs will poke fun at you. Oh, you have 8 teak planks, a rope, a sapphire, and an Eye of Newt on hand? What are the odds? It's like some external force guided you to me and told you everything I would need. Brilliant design. That does sound fun. Dragon Wilds, that's it. There you go. Yeah, Dragon Wilds. RuneScape Dragon Wilds. Thank you to the chatters there. You guys are absolutely right. Yeah, I think it's that thing of like it makes you think. Of course, the OG. Let me throw it to the live stream right now. What is the OG game that made you think with the quests? I'll give you a hint. It's set in the modern world. I don't think the MMO is running anymore. It's set in the. Let's do a who's who of some of my favorite outposts. Icetooth Cave has to be one of them. All the little outposts. I'll give you another hint. This is a big hint here. Conspiracy theories. That's probably too big of a hint, isn't it? Maybe I should have reined that in a bit. Oh, look, this guy's made it here. Level 20, Eldoa. Permadeath Eldoa. And with Melandru. Wow. Well done, good sir. Matrix Online. No, there you go. Jack Goodchild 6201 got it. Secret World, right? Secret World was like really big on the okay, you have to engage your brain to do these quests. You have to know like shit about IRL and like you have to do research and stuff. I never played it myself, but that was word on the grapevine. Yeah, Secret World. I don't know. Do they still do that? Next, 23BCX, a frequent flyer in these comment sections. I don't know. They just have a way about them. They're managing to get a lot of comments going. They have an interesting topic here. I hate the high cost of living area arguments. And so we were talking about this back when we were doing the VOE Elite Specializations betas, because it blew my mind to hear the amount that it was. They say no one is forcing Arenanet to keep their office in Seattle. There are plenty of other cities in the US with talent if they need to even have an office anymore. The cost of living in Seattle is about twice what it is anywhere else in the US, besides other West Coast cities and New York City. And it's about 160% the dev salaries. It does not make financial sense for either the devs or the company to stick it out there. I think this is one of those things, right? Well, I think you have a point, right? Like a theoretical point, okay? I think anyone sane would look at it and say, well, yeah, move the company out. But it's that thing where when you're on the internet, it's easy to give advice and imagine solutions. But this is easier said than done, right? This is like when you go to our relationships and you ask about the fact that your husband farts in bed at night and you just don't know what to do. And everyone's advice is, oh, just dump his ass. Dump him. Fuck him. You go, girl. You got choices. Get out of there. And it's like, okay, but you don't actually have to live with the emotional turmoil of going through a messy breakup and doing the move and all that shit. And all these little things that factor into real life, why people don't just dump each other at the slightest thing, right? It's the same kind of thing here. Arenanet can't dump Seattle just because their high cost of living is the equivalent of their smelly bed farts, right? What are they called? Russian hot boxes? No, that's not it. What is it? What's it called when you fart under the covers and then you hold your girlfriend's head under there? Not that I've ever done that. What's that called? It's not called a hot box. What is it? It's a thing. Anyway, Dutch oven, that's it. Thank you. Dutch oven. Corey there with a high... Corey, that's filthy. Why would you know about Dutch ovens? That's outrageous. I judge you, sir. I judge you. Yeah, so I don't know. They're there now, aren't they? And everyone lives near there. And the commute is a real thing, right? Listen, I fucking hate the idea of doing a long commute. What are you going to do? Ask all your devs to go on these really long commutes? What are you going to do? Slowly edge it further away? So they're in Bellevue, right? Is there like another town a bit further out they can go to? And then they go a bit further out another 10 years after that. And then a bit further, and slowly finally they're out in the Rocky Mountains where everything's cheap, right? And they're petitioning for high-speed rail. It's not going to happen, is it? They're there now. I don't know. Obviously, they do move, but usually you only hear about these company moves in the context of their expansions. I think they're stuck. And these are all things to think about when you hear about, you know, these European countries' successes, right? Where cost of living is lower. You know, where we have built a genuine utopia, haven't we? My ordo-liberal brothers. Except I'm not there anymore. Oh. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Tricky one. John Borgers, thank you very much for the 5 gift memberships. There's my desperate attempt to add some value to the conversation. Not doing very well, am I? Atrelios says, Debbie plus Nancy here. Uh-oh. See, this is a moment for a soundboard. This is where we put the weakest link sound on there. They shouldn't do gold to gems. Okay, wait. Gold to gems. Okay, gems to gold we all accept, right? Because it's... Even though there's this socio-economic element where rich kid, can just pay their way to all the best rewards and we don't like it. At the end of the day, bots are going to do it anyway. We want the money to go to the studio, right? So we have to live in the real world. So gold to gems, we say fine. We have to do it. There's no way out, right? That we're saying is okay. But gold to gems, I made an argument a few days ago. I didn't make an argument. I made an observation that despite it being in the game, it doesn't seem to cut Arenanet any fucking slack at all. People still bitch like mad. So, fuck it. Take the bag. That's what I observed. Okay, that's what I contrarian suggested. Anyway, this guy's agreeing as a Debbie Nancy. He says they shouldn't do it. Fuck it. By doing that, they'll be incentivized to lower the gold acquisition in-game artificially or make the prices of things artificially higher than they should be so that you're not able to buy too many gems with the gold you generate in-game or make gold acquisition painfully boring or excessively repetitive. This is even further incentive for people to run bots, multi-box, get out their credit cards so they can cheat the system. Any form of real money currency to from game currency conversion is bad. I also think that whatever you buy from the store should be account bound, but let's be real. They will probably have gems to gold, and they will most likely have gold to gems to justify a low gold acquisition in the game. I believe these systems synergize with each other rather than be at odds. P.S. Yes, it is a negative comment, but I'd rather be negative for a company's project and be proven wrong rather than be positive and get disappointed. No, I think you're right. I think you're right to drop this comment. I will openly embrace all Debbies, all Nancys. Come under the tent, right? Because it's important we rally against this and talk about this and make it clear we don't like this shit, right? Otherwise, they'll just run away with the ball. And I think gems to gold is just going to be there, guys. Unless they can find some immaculate tech back-end way of killing all bots and all negative multi-boxing activities and all that shit. Unless they can find that, unless there's some utopian new technology on the horizon that can kill this shit in its crib, then you're not gonna get it anymore, unfortunately. So, from my perspective on this is, okay, if we have to live in the world where Arenanet are doing this, then they should at least get money out of it. They should at least take the bag. As long as that money goes back into the game in terms of manpower and intelligent devs and devs that don't feel stressed. By the way, I'll give you... There's another little argument. Actually, I'll segue into another conversation in a second. Next question. Here, this one here. This is from Asgarzagul, who says the whole maybe the low-level devs are bad thing. He says that works for small teams, but for a studio of Arenanet or Riot size, it doesn't make much sense. The big decisions aren't going to be made by the boots-on-the-ground devs anyway, and from the outside, we just don't know in detail who's responsible for what. I also don't think there's any utility to knowing that, because it just leads to harassment and to witch hunts, as you sometimes see with certain writers or actors who are deemed as the problem. We as players just interact with the studio as one entity, and their work as a finished product, and that's just fine, I think. We give feedback and criticize the things that didn't work out, and at that point, the ball is in the studio's court. And as you said, with the side-by-side cutscenes, the players don't always know best. The common dev wisdom is that users are very good at figuring out where there is a problem, but the solutions they come up with are rarely good. Yeah, this is like a dreamboat comment. This is you get the crown of potatoes today, as our gazelle. I completely, wholeheartedly, fully endorse every aspect of everything you've said there. I think you're right to point out that the low-level dev argument doesn't really work. And it does lead to an awkward place, a place that I've never liked. You know, when... So, like, I'm not even going to give you direct examples. You guys will have actually noticed this about my... Well, I hope you've noticed this about my content over the years. I have never talked shit about an individual balance dev. But balance is the big one. There are certain names out there where the community thinks, oh, this person works on this class, therefore when I don't like the balance, this guy's a monster. We've seen it with writers, certainly. The closest, I think it's icky, and I think you don't really know. You haven't got a fucking clue. You don't know what it's like to be in the meetings with those people. You don't know how, like, forcefully some opinions are being put forwards. You don't know whether it's a lack of intelligence or they see things that you don't see. You don't know whether it's a lack of enthusiasm or maybe they have more. As far as I'm concerned, those individuals, right, they have skills that make them a lot of money, right, in computer science. And they've turned their back on that to pursue their love of video games, right? And you don't get into video games to make money. So I tend to give them the benefit of the doubt. And I don't like talking about individuals. The closest I get to talking about individuals, and I hope this is true, right, is if there's a specific interview, right, or game directors. And even then, I spent a lot of time just trying to talk about the job posting rather than the person's name, right? In my opinion, if you are game director, if you are in a lot of the communication, if a part of your job is to be that interface with the community and to take the rap if things are going bad, right, and to be the public sacrifice, the offering, right, which is kind of what the game director is, frankly, then yeah, maybe you can do it a bit more, but yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's the studio. Just try and keep the criticism on the studio. It's for them to work out. They know where the weak link is, right? You don't really know. Fuck off, do you know? You don't know. They know when there's some arsehole in a prominent position that shouldn't be there. Or some person that's not handing in work on time or whatever. Like, they know. And they don't need your fucking... And it's not worth the risk. What if you're attacking someone who's actually quite smart and someone who actually does know a lot about what's going on, but their hands were tied? You do yourself a disservice at that point. I mean, fuck all the politeness, right? Ignore... Okay, just be a monster, right? And assume that... I don't give a fuck. Fuck the game studios. They're all greedy bastards. Blah, 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 blah. Which is like a moron's position to take, right? But you want to be the moron? Trust me, I see a lot of you fucking morons out there in the comments. You want to be the moron, right? From that perspective. But it doesn't do you any justice, right? Just try to be rational for a second. Take a dev that has had a bad rap over the years, right? And just consider for a second that maybe you don't know best. But what you've done is you've deluded yourself now to believing they will never create good balance again. And you might be doing yourself a disservice. They might actually have good ideas. The grass might not be greener. And by bullying them out of the scenes, by putting your fucking skanky little Reddit posts talking shit about them, right? And believe me, people read stuff, right? That's one of the biggest problems of the internet, by the way. People post comments on forums thinking that the subject that they're talking about isn't reading it, and they are reading it. You may as well just be saying it to their face. It doesn't give you, carte blanche to be a cunt. But people do that on the online all the time. Anyway, so you do that. You convince yourself that this guy or girl or whatever is the problem. You might be wrong. So, like, it's just chaos. Just be rational. Even if you're a prick, right, and you don't care about being nice, right, be rational at least. There is a rational reason not to come at individual devs. So, yeah, there you go. I'll get off my high horse on that. But, yeah, I think you're right, and I get it. It's hard because our brains aren't built for that, and you see them in the trailers, and you see them in the interviews, and blah, 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 blah. What else we got here? Oh, and the other thing what was the other point I was going to make? It was relating to this comment. I knew I was going to forget. I knew I was going to forget. I had a point to make, guys. It's gone now. I'm very angry with myself. Oh well, maybe one day we'll remember. WP mad at the YouTube comments is the bingo. No, I would never be mad. I would never be mad. We have 2 comments I'm about to get mad at, by the way. I'm in, and they're the last 2 comments. I'm N's 93 though, gets in just before then. WP, he's dodged the gauntlet. He's dodged the nerd wrath. WP, you should get a soundboard, but instead of the oink for donations, make it the char sounds when they talk. They kind of sound like oinks, and you get to save face by saying that's just Guild Wars related and not pay pigs at all. Okay, I mean, I'll look at... I don't know. I'm happy to oink into the microphone. What I want to do is I want to go... Is there clipping on YouTube? I thought of a thing, guys. If I enable clips, can I turn those clips into shorts? That way you guys can just make the shorts for me. Oh, look at that. If we're going to do 900 episodes of Guild Wars 3 Daily, it might be good to have stuff like that in place. Yeah, anyway, it would have been cool if someone had clipped that really disgusting noise we made the other day, because I want to know what it sounded like, and I didn't get to listen to it. But yeah, okay, all right. 2 comments to round out. These are actually not about Guild Wars 3. First we have Sam the Noob. This comment I don't understand. This comment is structured like it's some kind of a gotcha, but it's not. Let's read this. He says, it's funny to hear WP dismiss the idea of predatory monetization. And today he's talking about surgeons preying on and commoditizing people's insecurities. I guess the mental and social manipulation is okay if the product doesn't involve surgery. So where is the line between consumer responsibility and predatory profiteering? Which products can have it and which ones can't? Well, what kind of comment is this? Absolutely there's a line. Yes, well done. You have been a rational person in identifying that your opinion should change depending on the severity and the nature of the topic. Yes, there's a line. Let's figure this out. In the one hand, we have surgeons in a Louis Theroux documentary who are putting people under surgery, general anesthetic, serious shit. There is a risk of death with this stuff. Putting people under surgery, disfiguring, or hopefully in some cases making people look better. They're paying like their life savings, going into like lifelong debt. They come out of surgery, they go back into a room, and the surgeon convinces them and encourages their insecurities and tells them that they're still not perfect. And oh, maybe you should get this. There's a guy in that documentary, right, who's getting like plastic implants for his biceps that look terrible. But the surgeon comes out and says, oh, no, yeah, that looks really, really, really good. But it's a little bit lopsided now. I think we should do it again. And people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on this. Yes, if we want to use hysterical language, if we want to talk about people being preyed upon as they go under the knife while the surgeons fill their pockets and buy their third fucking mansion, yeah, maybe hysterical language on this hand is called for. What do we have on the other on the other hand? We have people spending a $5 on some pixels in a video game. Oh, it's so predatory. I'm being preyed upon. Yes, we can use different language to describe different scenarios. Well done. Well done. Yeah, that's so funny to hear. Well, I don't understand this comment. Come at me, Sam the noob. Come at me. All right, and finally we've got Papa Bungle here. Like I said, these are not about Guild Wars 3. Sorry, everybody. I'm all right. I'm chill. I'm okay. I'm chill. I'm okay. This is a nice PMA show. Okay. Well, we're going to make it. We're going to make it in the 900 days. And I promise there won't be another argument with another member of the community. I don't actually enjoy it. And I always get really insecure afterwards. All right, here we go. I'm so cynical about Game of Thrones, and I don't think the commenter was harsh enough about the audience. Love the books. Loved seasons 1 to 4. You're right that they're fantastic television, and their capacity to make you care about extremely flawed characters is a testament to how good the writing of the books were and how well these characters were adapted and acted on screen. And none of that is why Game of Thrones was a huge worldwide phenomenon. For upwards of 95% of audiences, they only cared about blood and tits and the game show aspect of who will sit on the throne in any given season, and most importantly at the end. People like you and me, who liked the writing, who loved the world building, the character dynamics, the dramatic ironies, the Shakespearean tragic fates, we were a very, very small minority of the audience. We know this because season 5, 6 and 7 are all as bad as season 8. Same dogshit writing, same fumbling, mishandling of characters, until they're bland and unrecognizable versions of themselves, aside from their catchphrases. Same nonsensical episode plots. And some of the plots, by the way, were completely meandering. The Sand Snake stuff with Jaime and Bronn is obviously a big one. None of that mattered to the audience at large. Seasons 5, 6, and 7 had IMDb ratings as good or better than season 1 to 4. All of them had higher viewership than season 1 to 4. They all had the same positive level of critic reception as season 1 to 4. Even though the second we started season 5, episode 1, the writing immediately dove into a dumpster and never recovered, not even for a single episode. The audience at large only started turning on the show when it started signaling that Daenerys, the fan favorite, was not going to win the game show with blood and tits. There was nothing in season 8 on a writing level that was any worse than what they've been putting out on 5, 6, and 7. The audience large only cared about the game show. If they cared about the writing, the rebelling against the show would have started years before season 8. I remember for years feeling like I was taking crazy pills, watching all the little piggies cheer as season 5, 6, and 7 immediately devolved into slop. It taught me audiences deserve less. If you watch TV, you deserve the lowest of the lowest reality TV slop. If you watch movies, you only deserve Ass, the movie, with the butt farting on screen for 90 minutes. If you play video games, you deserve the exact same release every year with monetary systems that vacuum every dollar out of your wallet. If you watch anime, you should probably be in prison. They know what they did. Audiences deserve less. They might actually deserve less than nothing. Holy shit, you guys think I came in hot on that surgery comment just now? Papa Bungle is on a roll. Holy shit, man. Alright, okay, let's calm down for a second. I love the energy you're bringing. All right, you're like a 10. I need you to come down to like a 7 or a 6. It's not true that there weren't highlights. I agree. Right, the first half of what you wrote, I totally agree. As soon as season 5, you can feel it. Something is wrong, right? It's hard to put your finger on in those early moments because a lot of enjoying characters is their arc, right? And while you're still in the middle of their arc, it's very difficult to to see where it terminates. So it's easier in retrospect to realize, oh fuck, they had devolved into nothing, right? Or whether it was some kind of an interesting misdirect or something that will eventually become a novel new take in the full context. People of the day aren't to know. That's why no matter how smart you are, I take that back. No matter how TV savvy you are, right? No matter how many of these things you've seen and your alarm bells start ringing, a lot of us will hold off, right? And I'll admit to holding off myself. Like, I remember, definitely when Season 5 started, to me, something felt wrong. There's a scene at the start of Season 5 where Tyrion gets out of the box, right? Varys lets Tyrion out of the box. And I remember watching that scene right there. I remembered thinking the character writing wasn't working for some reason. And to this day, I still can't articulate why. But something felt wrong immediately from that moment, and yeah, and a lot of the character writing felt that way. Yeah, the plotting fell apart, but look, there were some great moments, right? You can't tell me that the Battle of the Bastards wasn't a great moment. You can't tell me there weren't big set pieces spattered in there. You say there wasn't a single good episode. There were still some decent beats. And yeah, because while the show is still coming out, you're in that morass. These shows get a few years, a couple of seasons, even from quite discerning, savvy TV watchers. It's only in hindsight you can really draw a line under it. So, you know... And there were people being snobs and cynics back then. They just got crowded out, right? But you're right. Most people don't care. I remember, I won't say who. I have a family member who watched this show years after it came out. He binged it all at once. And my instinct was, I said to him, oh man, can you believe where it went? Because to me, I thought he was in it for the stakes and the character nuance and that from the first few seasons. And his immediate response to me was, no, it was brilliant. I loved it the whole way. I thought it never stopped being brilliant. The nerds on the line that get annoyed about it frustrate me. And I loved it. And I sort of stopped myself in that moment and I thought, oh yeah, okay. I won't bitch about the show to him then because I'm just going to be one of those nerds online, right? But it is pretty clear to me, it definitely falls off. And people loved it. But look, I have one argument against you, Papa Bungle. One argument, right? If it's all about the slop, if good writing and strong characters are not... If they don't mean anything, okay? If good plotting doesn't mean anything, then why do we remember the end of Breaking Bad and an episode like Ozymandias, right? Why do we remember that? And another question to you... Why did Game of Thrones get anywhere at all? Why didn't it just fizzle out like that pirate show, right? Or get forgotten? The reason is because it does matter. It's because those first few seasons had to have been the best of all time. And then yeah, they get to rest on their laurels. But if they hadn't been the best of all time early on, Game of Thrones wouldn't have kept growing. Go back and look at Game of Thrones coming out. People were worried about it. They were worried about the budgets. They were worried about the fact it was a book adaptation. They were worried about the fact it was fantasy. But people saw it. They enjoyed it. Word of mouth caused it to spread. It continued to be good for a good half decade or so. And that gave it the legs it needed to you know, keep going. You're right. A lot of people... So, like, some other family members of mine are watching a show called Grimm at the moment. And every time... I got them to watch Game of Thrones and they loved it, right? And now they're watching Grimm. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's just like Game of Thrones. And like the snippets I see of Grimm as I, like, coast past the TV, I'm like, there's no fucking way this is as good as Game of Thrones. This looks like slop. This looks shit. This looks really tacky, low-rate bollocks. I might be wrong about Grimm. Is Grimm good? But, you know, so I agree. A lot of people can't tell the difference or whatever. We've been very, very snobby. But I think you're off the deep end here. All right, there you go. There's our comments. And how do I move that to Guild Wars 3? Okay, what I say to that is Guild Wars 3, Arenanet. All you have to do is the gritty, grim, dark... crazy, you know, you only have to ape and spoof Game of Thrones at the start, all right? Then you can introduce Timey 2 and Casimir 2 and all those guys, you know, and you can start shoveling the slop, right? And I'll defend you. There you go. That's how we move it to Guild Wars 3. Are we all good? All right. Who's ready to talk about Guild Wars 1? Pandinator says, I rewatched Game of Thrones 2 months ago this year, not having seen the last season, and it was got good story-wise. People were just mad their character died. No, that's bullshit. That's complete horseshit. Why are people angry about Jaime's arc at the very end? Because it completely spat on everything the character stood for. Everything that the character was... The journey that the character had been on, what had been captivating about the character. And, like, it did it in the name of a really tacky, ill-thought-out final subversion. As though the only thing that Game of Thrones was ever there for was to rug pull. But that is not true. It was a lot more than just pulling the rug on you and revealing new things about characters. Jaime's handling at the end of Game of Thrones is fucking terrible. And it has nothing to do with the character's final scene. And it has everything to do with the decisions they made with that character. I do agree. There's a lot. Don't get me talking about Game of Thrones. There's a lot we can talk about. Daenerys especially was in a weird catch-22 where if they did what the books and the show was clearly setting up, it was going to be bad for them. And if they didn't, it was going to be bad for them. Daenerys was never going to work out. That's kind of the Goomba fallacy there a little bit, but yeah. All right, okay. Anyway. WP, what's your confidence in Amazon's Warhammer series? I don't really know Warhammer at all. I'm kind of interested, though. In recent years, I've become a lot more interested in UK media and UK games and UK properties. And wanting to give them a shot, which might be pathetic and silly or whatever, but I have. And I don't know, it makes me want to get into Warhammer a bit, so I'll probably watch that. I think Amazon did terrible with Rings of Power, but I don't think that necessarily means anything. Game of Thrones had 4 great seasons. After that, it became plot hole Andy. It's not even about plot holes. I'm actually fairly tolerant of plot holes. And again, I will give Game of Thrones credit. That you know what watching the fight. Okay, this is Guild Wars related. I promise. You know what I really felt terrible about in the last season? And by the way, also, people were really against the show, even in the penultimate season. It was really fucking obvious when those boats were sailing to Westeros at the end of that season that there was no way that it was, even at that point. And a lot of people were being quite vocal about the show not doing great. But you know what made me feel weird with all those final episodes, those final seasons? And it's a feeling I get from Guild Wars very often. And a lot of games, actually, very often. It's when you can see that the set design and the props and the costumes and the music and the CGI and just about everything you can imagine that the show needs to succeed is fucking amazing. All of the employees across all of those areas, which are huge teams, insane talent, it's all fucking incredible. They're all like working 20 out of 10 and it's like, holy shit, these guys are so talented, only to realize that none of it matters because the writers have let them down, right? That felt awful, right? And that made me think, Christ, imagine being a creative in any of these big industries. Like, these people have poured their heart and souls into this stuff, and all of this would work if it was paired with good writing, and the writers have let everyone down, right? Everyone. And that is a feeling that I have often had with Guild Wars. When I think about the effort and energy that went into some of those, like, End of Dragon set pieces and stuff, but I'm not there emotionally, I'm not in the moment because I'm not really with the characters, because I don't feel like I've spent enough time in the setting, blah, 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 all the critiques I've given all over the years. And I hope not to feel that with Guild Wars 3. Let me just put it that way. I hope not to. Guild Wars 1, how to start over as a returning player video when... I'm not really interested in videos like that. Maybe. Videos like that are just made by people... Maybe. I don't know. Alright, let's move on. Let's talk about Guild Wars 1. Okay, I'm going into this blind. I have no idea what the patch is. I'm not going to spin this into a dedicated video. I'm just going to wing it. And we'll see what we've got here, guys. So, late night. Guild Wars 1. And, again, thank you to BR Spees and John Poggers there. You've both contributed a little bit to the PC fund. I will keep an eye on that. If anyone else does, you're more than welcome. And what I will do is we can continue doing questions. Alright, game updates. I'd raise the bar on videos like that. Oh, joke? Oh, okay. I mean, maybe I would if I put a lot of effort into them, but I'm not in a place where I would want to be honest. Alright, this list contains all the updates as published by Arenanet in 2 weeks recently. Okay, what do we got? We got some hot fixes that came in on the 25th, a couple of days ago. They fixed pets that started attacking neutral mobs. I don't remember that being in the game, so that must have been new. I guess as a hot fix, that makes sense. Pets failing to attack outside of aggro range. A crash related to Kirin's Wrath, which has been patched, it seems. Fix an issue with the black bar on Android 12 devices. Layout issues with the character creation screens on certain mobiles. Weird aspect ratios, I suppose. A crash with observer mode on mobile. I actually saw they post about that on the... I saw they posted about that on the Guild Wars 1 subreddit. There was also some kind of password error. Okay, not too interesting. Right, moving on. Global mobile release. There is a trailer for this as well, guys, which we'll watch at some point. In fact, fuck it. I'll read this with the trailer on another day. Bug fixes. Mislabeled signposts in the tunnels of the Forsaken. Oh, that's the new dungeon, right? An update to drunk effects on mobile. I saw a post on that, about that on the subreddit. Fixes for projective texture sampling. This will fix water reflections in Nightfall and later maps. Projective texture sampling? Is that an Android only specific issue? Is this an Android thing? If we go to Nightfall... and we go to, I don't know, the Codner Crossroads, looks like it has a river near it. If I were here... on mobile, would it not look good? It looks good to me, as always. Nightfall, my baby. It's interesting, I've seen some people on Reddit that really believe that Nightfall is the place that Arenanet should start all the new players on mobile, not Prophecies. But I completely disagree. The learning curve is way too steep. But hey. Alright, what else we got? Fixes for distortion depth textures. They're needed for portal effects in Nightfall and later maps. Fixes for correctly detecting cube map samples in advanced materials. Fixes flashing models and later missions. Alright, I don't know. Hero AI. Okay, this is big, guys. The AI shit, as you heard, hopefully you listened to my interview. The AI stuff is amazing. It is really cool. There's a lot of skills that, like, would be fun on heroes, but they're dead because the heroes don't use them well. And I mean, like, completely dead. Sometimes there are examples of skills that got reworked from prior functionality, but the devs forgot to update the UI, so they're just bricked. Not only are they bricked, but they're new player traps as well. So the fact that the 2 weeks and Arenanet have been doing these actual AI adjustments is so exciting. I mean, I hope this never goes away. I really, please buy some microtransactions in Guild Wars 1. I'm begging you. Instead of contributing to the PC fund, next time you want to contribute to the PC fund, instead go buy yourself something in Guild Wars 1. Hero AI. The target selection logic for melee heroes has been adjusted to stick to their targets so that they don't waste vulnerable time moving between targets. If you specify a target, that will overrule this logic. Heroes should freeze less when they're having difficulty getting to their preferred target. This is particularly for melee heroes who should try to attack enemies that are body blocking them while trying to progress to their desired target. Stuck heroes will try to get unstuck periodically if they're unable to reach their preferred target. AoE damage tolerance is increased until your health is lower now, 65% instead of 80, before they attempt to escape these effects. The priority for melee heroes is to use auto attacks has been reduced until that their energy levels are low. There's a lot to talk about here. So just for those that don't know, the Guild Wars 1 meta for a long time. In fact, I would go so far as to say since Heroes have even been out, is that spellcasters, and to a lesser extent, you know, ranged characters, paragons, rangers, are way, way, way better than melee characters. Koss might have 100 armor, right? And he may run forwards, thus taking him out of AoEs and, you know, creating a better sense of a front and back line and stuff. But his AI is really slow. So I want you to imagine that the Dejarin Estate marker here is an enemy, and this Cornan Peasant is an enemy. And we're all over here, right? We're engaging from this bush. If you have a bunch of people loaded up with Energy Surge, say, for example, right? When they all hit the bush and we hit Compass, the aggro range, immediately Gwen is casting and doing damage. Immediately all the casters are doing their thing. Meanwhile, Koss has to run in. This is all dead time. And when he gets here, he might decide that instead of attacking the peasant's like moved slightly or has come forwards, or now he's close to this, so he's gone over here. But now he's like in an AoE for a second, so he's fled from the AoE, and now he's going to the peasant, and now he's coming here, and now he's going back to this target, and this, all of this, right, this running around in the chaos of the fights, he's doing 0 damage. He's doing nothing. It's been a big problem. So this whole block of stuff that they've got here helps them to be stickier. They will get in, they will hit the targets, they will line back a bit better, they won't be scared off by AI, and hopefully it improves the situation. Now, I have seen a thread on this Reddit already where someone says, wait, our melee hero is now shit because they're sitting in AoEs too much? That's unfortunate if they're now getting themselves killed. I mean, presumably the expertise years ago, the experts at the studio thought 80% was a better number than 65. And maybe now they're learning why. I don't know. But what this patch is trying to do is redress the balance of taking melee heroes versus ranged heroes. And, you know, make them spam their skills better instead of just sitting there auto-attacking. There are certain skills that are really good, but the AI just doesn't spam them enough. Like, is triple shot one of them? I can't remember. Maybe they'll have it low down in a minute. But yeah, and it just stops the, hopefully, melee heroes being a trap. Assassins benefit from this massively as well. Assassins are basically the worst heroes because they are kind of squish. And they have attack chains to deal with as well on top of all of these problems. Now, I noticed that they say this is just hero AI, so enemies aren't going to be more deadly. That's a shame. I like the idea of letting the enemies do it too. But maybe making them scatter less is actually not good. I don't know. And then there's minions as well. Minions, I believe, are buffed in this patch. But minions, like the idea of a flesh wall minion, there's the reason why people prefer the ranged minions that just immediately start pew-pewing the fiends is this same thing. The bone minions, even if they hit really hard, even like if you take a high-level flesh golem, for example, he's kind of annoying to get in there and hit stuff. I'd love to see that they give the flesh golem this new melee AI. That would be sick. I don't know whether they've done that. But yeah, so ostensibly, these are all great changes. And I hope that if you're playing, you know, a Milan Doom character now, and you get Devonna in pre-searing Ascalon, maybe she's actually a worthy pick with her hammer, with her de facto skills. So yeah, cool block. Obviously, I'm not here to test and prototype and check every single little thing. It's 1:30 in the morning. What do we have in the chat? Yeah, and guys, if you've been actively playing a lot of the game at the moment, throw me your thoughts in chat. Maybe they're playing with the hero AI before releasing the enemy side, so less variables. That's an interesting idea, Peanut Butter. I would love to see them do that. I think they're scared of doing it to the general AI because they're scared of, you know, making some areas of the game unplayably difficult or whatever. But the thing is, there's a huge monk change we're going to talk about in a second, guys. Ray of Judgment. They have rebuffed it. And Ray of Judgment, my memory of the skill, is that when they are... Well, I'll talk about it when we get there, right? But it's funny that they're really conservative in some ways, but then they did the Ray of Judgment thing and made factions really fucking brutal this patch. All right, Pet AI. The pet's target selection logic has been adjusted so that they also are a bit stickier. So that's cool. I don't have anything specific to note about that. Hopefully they work better. I don't know if this has the pink mower nerf. Was the pink mower thing verified? Oh, there you go. Shibaru says it's a lot better. Okay, don't just tell me it's better, though. Give me a wall of text in the live chat or in the comments, the YouTube comments. Give me your experience, guys. I want your anecdotes. That's right. Anecdote. We're Anecdote Andy's here. What value is having a YouTube audience if I don't get to hear how you guys are experiencing the game? Alright, so AI adjustments. Variety's gaze. Let's remind ourselves what some of these do because, you know, my memory is slipping. Well, it's a weird thing where if I did a month of good, proper gameplay, I'd remember them all again. But I'm in that place right now where I'm a Minecraft Mike, so I haven't been playing. And it sort of takes a little while to get back into the swing of it. So Variety's gaze is you take a hostile undead and you break its bond. Yeah, this is a really cool skill, but nobody ever plays it. We increase the priority of them using it on masterless minions. Ah. Yeah, if the minion has a master, it becomes masterless. If it had no master, you become the master. It's a really fun skill and a really fun idea. And it's a prophecy skill as well. So it's like one of those more experimental things. But as far as I know, it's never really been used. Maybe it was used in like Duncan runs. But I think Signal of Lost Souls was probably... Maybe PvP. This is like a cool tech choice if you're going to be fighting a lot of MMs. Anyway, they will now use it a little bit more smartly. Apparently, the AI thought that it was a sacrifice skill when it wasn't. They also prioritize high health minions. That's excellent. Skip minions that are low health. That's all really cool. See here, this just says AI skill adjustments. So will enemies do it as well? So what skills do I know? What enemies do I know use Variety's gaze? I guess the Varietan cultists do. What else use them? Ceres and Nebu Terrace. A couple of bosses. Yeah, see, this is late. Oh no, they're skill trainers. Who uses the skill? Does Wiki not list? Wiki should definitely have a section that says which enemies are using the skill. I can't think of who uses Variety's gaze, I gotta be honest. And you'd think I would know that after playing Sabway and a bunch of minion builds over the years. Alright, Unyielding Aura. So this is a monk. How do I do this, guys? Do I explain what every fucking skill is? Oh, I might actually be able to do that. Well, there's not that much scrolling. Okay, Unyielding Aura is an upkeep. It makes you a super monk while you're upkeeping it, and then as soon as you end the upkeep, it immediately reses an ally and TPs them to you. So it's like a super res skill. It's a really fucking cool elite. It's actually one of my favorite elites. Oh, classically. Back in the day, it was one of my favorite elites to run on monks. I fucking love this thing. Because the AI was always really good at disabling the upkeep the second someone died. So you'd see someone die and then immediately go to 100% health. It was like they bounced. And if it was you, it would feel really weird. It's like instead of dying, you just got recalled to the back line. What was even cooler is that you could kind of double do it. You would cast it to upkeep it. The cooldown would finish. And then like if 2 players die... Dunkoro would like double res. He'd like end an upkeep, recast, end an upkeep. Really fucking cool. So I always thought they were amazing with the AI on this. Are they getting even better? Checks when evaluating removal to give characters with lower priority a chance to remove the buff first to give the character with higher priority to keep the buff active a chance to keep it. Oh, so the idea is if I'm running multiple copies, it's smarter about that? Is that what they're saying? This needs some additional work to ensure characters with higher priorities keep the skill, don't remove it. Players may be able to get desired results by reordering heroes so that lower priority heroes are lower in the party list. Wow! That's an interesting thing that they could just embrace. Whenever there's an AI priority conflict, do it by party list. That way the players have control. That's very cool. Arenanet, if you're going to do that, there should be a part of the tutorial for that. There should be a pop-up relating to that. I don't know how you want to do it. That would be a cool thing to embrace, wouldn't it? It's just a game mechanic. I adore that. What should there be? There should be two things. There should be a tutorial pop up about it, and there should also be a tooltip on prominent skills that have that priority party interaction. It should be like written in yellow or blue or whatever at the bottom. As is the case with a great many games. Guild Wars 1. I don't know how far you're going. 2 weeks? I don't know how far you're going. Arenanet, I don't know how far you're going. But, you know, this is a game that could deal with hold over a tooltip and tap T to, like, have nested tooltips like PoE has, like grand strategy games have, like a lot of RPGs have. Nested tooltips would give you a lot of power and a lot of opportunity to start embracing ideas like this. What do you think? Flail. Flail is a great example of a skill that so it's an attack speed increase and it's adrenaline based. So all you need to do is get some adrenaline. On players, it's amazing, but heroes fucking suck with this because they don't upkeep it well enough. They don't refresh it. They let it time out and then finally turn it back on. Fuck that. So annoying. I hope this is a fix so that they keep it up all the time. Checks if the skill being used by characters using melee or ranged weapons. If they have an active target, this stance is viable. When considering other stances to use, prioritize them if there's no longer a target in weapon range. Oh, was this one... Hold on, was this the thing where if you had a bow, they would never use it? I remember heroes were annoying with flail. Is it better now? Unfortunately, the wiki's kind of letting me down. Heroes will only use this skill if their current target is knocked down or stationary. Really? Was that it? Stationary? And is that still true because of the movement speed nerf on it? Judge's Insight. This gives you some armor pen. Ensures that the target's actually using martial weapons, no caster weapons. That's pretty good. That's perfect. Brace yourself. Try to maintain this in combat on allies that have self-knockdown skills. Oh, that's interesting. And that doesn't kill those builds, right? We can still get the proc. Find their weakness. This is like deep wound and a massive bonus to an attack, but it's single target. They'll cast it on anyone with a martial weapon, no caster. Signet of Illusions. This is a signet. When you cast it, your next skills use your illusion attribute instead of your regular attribute. Famously, heroes never knew how to handle that, so... I don't know how did heroes use this? Anyway, take into account the number of non-illusion spells they have equipped when deciding cast priority. The more non-illusion spells, the higher they will prioritize using the signet. If they have no non-illusion skills... the signet should not be used. Huh? Oh, I see. If they're pure illusion magic bar, then they won't use the signet. Why would you put it on the bar, though? By the way, considering enemies, none of these really stand out to me. The Awakened might use Find Their Weakness, but I don't think it really matters much. I mean, the fact that the Awakened might have wasted it on some of their casters, I don't know. Anthem of Wariness. Nice! They maintain this outside of all combat to maintain echoes. Beautiful. Yeah, this is a really good chant that if you're a Paragon and you're putting a bunch of echoes out, you can cast this, you can spam this. It's like Anthem of Flame, right? Or They're on Fire. It's one of those skills you can spam. And moments like that, it's always like, I wish a hero could do that for me. Chants obviously have the cast time on them, which makes them lag behind, and then sometimes people are out of earshot, which is why They're on Fire is so good, because it's a straight up shout and it will keep everyone. It's much more likely to hit everyone. But anyway, that's really cool. And I've always liked this. Weakness is fun in Guild Wars 1. Again, they're not telling us which enemies use. I can't believe that the Guild Wars 1 wiki doesn't have that as a section. Surely it makes sense to say enemies that use this skill. That's so fun to look at, isn't it? Here we go. They're on Fire. They'll also do it now. Maintain outside of combat to maintain echoes. Heroes will use it just as players will. Because heroes would never use it. But not just heroes, anything. They wouldn't use it unless someone's on fire. But then, at that point, you may have already sacked a bunch of damage and stuff. No, it's just very useful for maintaining the echoes. Beautiful. And these are the kind of things, by the way, this is tech that back when Nightfall was new and Arenanet were desperately scrambling along and getting to Eye of the North, they didn't have the breathing room to just assess and make these changes. But now they have 14 years of seeing how the players play the game to make these changes. So good. Right, Destructive was Glaive. Now, this is an interesting one. Item spell, while you hold it, you get Armor Pen, and when you drop it, it's a big AoE. This, I feel like I see a lot in PvE. Or it fucking hurts. They'll now prioritize using it in combat, regardless of the number of enemies. If it's held and there are more than 2 enemies in range, they'll consider dropping it. Okay. That was already quite a scary skill. Were they just not using it correctly? What's unfortunate is the wiki might have already updated. It might have had a cool note saying enemies never touch this or whatever. Oh, here you go. Heroes only cast this when there are foes adjacent. Under no circumstance will they drop the ashes, nor will they make any attempt to move closer to foes. Beautiful. Okay. So because people are updating the Guild Wars 1 wiki a little bit slow, we can get in here with our coverage and see. So that's what they fixed this now. Look at that. Look how bad that is before. They would never drop them. The heroes would never drop them. Oh my god. Well, they will now. Beautiful. I wish I'd asked Reforge in my interview, like, exactly what levers they have with the AI. Do they have it apply to everything? Enemies only? Heroes only? How do they have it structured? Or is it just a chaotic soup? It means they will cancel it with, say, rush if they aren't in range of the enemy. I see, okay. Finale of Restoration. They will prioritize characters with lower health. Do not cast again on characters if they already have the buff. Beautiful. I love patches like this. This is like, it's like reading Stellaris patch notes where I'm more excited about the bug fixes and just the shit improving the game. Look at this, guys. Stuff like this, it just makes it a better RPG. Just in all the fun, subtle little ways that you couldn't really feel it before, Guild Wars 1 is becoming a more engaging, more captivating, fun RPG. Oh, so good. And I want to believe in a new campaign or a new expansion that they don't go crazy with all the new skills. They just use an interesting mix of the existing 1,000. And hey, they've all been fucking patched and stuff. Oh God, how do I'm really scared, guys, that the community's too small and these projects aren't going to earn the money and they're going to go away. How can I help? Oh, I need to go full-blown shill mode, don't I? All right, what else we got? Okay, so actual balance now. Here we go. We're into the balance. We're continuing our strategy of trying to increase variety in the meta by increasing the viability of underused skills. But the balance pass does also feature adjustments that reduce the power of several skills that have reduced build variety by virtue of being so effective that other builds don't stack up. Okay, could you sound more corporate? All right, just be fucking honest. You're talking to a bunch of 30 and 40-year-olds, all right? We've been around the block, okay? We get it, all right? Just say, for the first time, we're going to look at some of the big outliers. Let's hop to it, all right? So for Assassin, what do we have? Oh, we've got some... I used to love Beguiling Haze. This was like one of the skills I was desperate to make work in random arenas. Shadow Step to a foe and apply a daze immediately. Really fucking cool, guys, because you Shadow Step onto that monk, and now he's dazed while you're spamming fast attacks on him and going for the double strikes and stuff. But it was always very, very, very expensive on the old energy. Do they have balance history just laid out? Oh, do you know what the Guild Wars 1 wiki needs? It needs tabs up here. There needs to be a tab for each balance patch, all right? And then another layer of tabs and then another layer. Wouldn't that be cool? Should I become a wiki contributor? Should I cancel this series and instead spend my time contributing to the wiki? Wouldn't that be sick, guys, if you could go through all the old balance patches? The AI will sometimes use this on targets without spells. They'll sometimes use this only as an interrupt. Is the application of daze itself an interrupt? I thought it wasn't. We have to click into skill history here. But where is skill history? It's not a tab at the top. It's not visible here. Okay, they do have the info. Yeah, it used to be 10. And then it got nerfed to 15. Game-wide. Even though I think this was more of just a PvP thing. Yeah, 2007. That sounds about right. Yeah. God, I love the build craft in Guild Wars 1. I really fucking loved this game. This was a good game, man. Recharge time going down on some other attack spells. I won't go over them all. Black Spider is like if they have a Hex, I think you get a cash out. Oh no, it's if they're poisoned, you get a cash out. No, no, no. Yeah, if they're hexed, you get a cash out. The cash out is poison. Falling Lotus, I think, is hitting a knockdown target and you get energy. Yeah. Jagged Strike, we're all familiar with. This is actually a very prominent nerf here. Jagged Strike is, for my League of Legends friends out there, this is like an auto-attack reset. It's like when you're playing Warwick and you tap the Q for a quick little reset, right? That's basically what Jagged Strike is. You can throw it out there. It's like a half-second attack really fast. And the point is it was super spammable. It's a core part of Dagger Assassin frontlining, which is far and away the highest damage build in the game. Increasing the recharge time from 1 to 2 doesn't necessarily change Dagger spam, does it? That's a big one, though. Assassins are at the top of the pile for player-controlled builds, just to be clear. In terms of enemies, by the way, nothing comes to mind with it. Nothing feels iconic here. Jungle Strike does more damage if they have a condition, I think. It's buffed, lower cooldown. Oh no, it's specifically not a condition. They have to have been crippled. If they're crippled, you get a big AoE cash out. Locust Fury, I love this skill. Locust Fury is, obviously, that's iconic for the Locust enemies. Locust Fury is an elite, right, where you enchant your... I think it's an enchantment. I don't think it's a stance. I think it's an enchantment. And what it means is your double strike chance is higher, which I really loved back in the day, because double strikes was like this fun assassin mechanic and dagger mechanic. But when you actually learn a bit more about the game and the fact that double strikes won't happen when you're spamming regular attack skills, and they will happen anyway if you're going to get a dual strike. This basically is like an auto-attack assassin build, which it doesn't really exist. So reducing the cast time on this to give it a bit of QOL, I don't know. I don't believe in it. I don't think this really matters. But yeah, look, baseline, 50% higher chance to double strike. I love the idea of Locust Fury. If they had upped that to 100% chance to double strike, now we'd be cooking with gas. I don't see what reducing the cast time does. I don't care about that. Shibuya says, the Jagged Strike has changed dagger spam a bit. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 1, it also fixes melee heroes. How does it fix melee heroes to increase the cooldown slightly? Oh, because it refines their decision making. They will go main hand, offhand, duel, right? Instead of main hand, offhand, back to main hand accidentally and fuck themselves. I see how that fixes the melee heroes, actually. That's huge. That's really good. Wow. Amazing. Oh, this is like a balance with boots, except you guys are boots. Oh, maybe this should have been its own video. All right, keep it up 2 weeks and maybe I'll start doing it. Mark of Insecurity. This one was weird. What's my memory of Mark of Insecurity? I think you hex someone. I think there's a knockdown component on it, but it's not like Scorpion Wire. Doesn't this do like ticking damage? I have my eyes closed. I don't know what the text says at the moment. Doesn't it do like ticking damage and then when it ends they fall over? Unless they've removed it. Isn't it something like that? A delay and then a knockdown? Elite Hex. Target foe gets health degen. Enchantments and stances expire faster. Oh, and your non-assassin skills are disabled. Okay, no, it's just degen and... yeah, I don't know. Reduce the enchantment expiration increase from 30 to 80 to 20 to 60. This must have been buffed in a recent patch and I missed it, and they've cleaned it up a bit for PvP, I guess. Seeping Wound is like if they're degenning, they degen harder. This has some PvE interest. Isn't that doesn't that get used by the fish in the Jade Sea? I seem to remember that being of note in one of the elite missions. Okay, this is while you have a condition, you take flat damage every second. This is one of their clunky ways of getting around extra pips. Raising the pip cap, effectively. Lower cost, lower recharge. The energy costs don't tend to matter for PvE when it comes to enemies using, so those buffs we can kind of ignore. Because they come at you with a full bar of energy anyway, and the fights don't tend to last long enough that draining them is a thing. Which is a shame for Mesmers, by the way, and is why we've ended up being a damage class. Anyway, Way of the Empty Palm. You enchant yourself, and your offhand and dual attacks are free. And they recharge twice as fast. Now, this is sick. That's really cool, but it does also obviously mean you can't combo it with an elite dual and an elite offhand. Which is just the magic inherent to the elite skill system. They've reduced the effect duration from 5 to 20. Whoa, and they added your offhand and dual attacks are free? Wait, what was it before? What did it used to be? Oh yeah, you could combo with Repeating Strike, I guess. I was thinking more like Horns of the Ox. If you can get that in such a way, you start spamming knockdowns. Way of the Fox, enchantment, you can't be blocked, and it cools down a bit quicker. Moving on to Dervish. Ash Blast, this is like a blind, basically. Target adjacent foes get blinded if they were burning. Recharge is a bit lower. This is actually kind of cool. I like the idea of setting up some fire LEs and things, especially with Energy Surge getting nerfed a little. Double Dragon. Double Dragon's amazing. If you guys check out my channel, I've done a Double Dragon team comp. It's a beneficiary of one of the last balance patches of the game, whereby you enchant yourself and a friend, and you both have these flaming rings, Beyblades basically, that you run around with. They're really cool. The recharge is lower. The damage is higher. The set on fire is higher. Oh, nice. I like that. Double Dragon buff. Fuck yeah. That's also quite fun for some factions enemies. Do the Jade Brotherhood use Double Dragon? I think they do. This is cool. Because doesn't it have like a 10-second duration? 8-second duration. Guys, the recharge coming down means the total upkeep is way higher. That means way more Beyblades. That is fun. I like that. Oh, I want to play with that. We should do fucking factions. Permadeath. Oh, moving on to the... Yeah, shit, I skipped it. Fleeting stability. This just means that you move faster, and I think you can't be knocked down for a little while. Yeah. Recharge is longer. The effect duration is also longer, so it's less of a spam. Pious Assault. Both. What, PvE and PvP? Is that what they mean by that? You can spam it as long as you have conditions to rend off of yourself. And it's more damage. Mirage Cloak. This had a funny, wonky meta in the past. It's a flash enchantment these days. You have a chance to block, and enemies get hit. The recharge is slightly longer. The block chance goes down. I guess that was running away in PvP. Mystic Regeneration. This is like a classic heal. This is like the OG heal you get as a Dervish. They've actually nerfed it. They've increased the energy costs by a lot. That 10 to 15 is huge. What Guild Wars 1 really needs to start doing is playing with the 7 energy and the 12 energy thresholds. The fact that they're locked into increments of 5 is really tricky. But hey. Mystic Twister. Why do I love Mystic Twister, guys? Go on, tell me in the live chat or the YouTube comments if nobody gets it. Why does WoodenPotatoes love Mystic Twister? There it is on the wiki screen. Why? Come on, prove to me that you're a WoodenPotatoes nerd. Prove to me that you watch not only WoodenPotatoes 1, but WoodenPotatoes 2, the expanded WoodenPotatoes family. This nukes nearby foes, and if you're enchanted, it nukes them harder. For the cost of some adrenaline. A spell that you cast with adrenaline. And you cast it quicker now. It's a half-second cast time. That's quite fun. There are only 3 spells in the game that ask for adrenaline. Alright, if nobody knows in the live chat, I will leave that mystery to the comments. Why does WoodenPotatoes love this one? Rending Aura. Increase the recharge. Nerfed a bit. Pious Restraint. Only in PvP. Whirling Charge. They've decreased the energy costs by half. Like, think about that. When they drop from a 10 to 5, that's a 50% half. Because it's so mystic, Zomoros is jealous. You failed. Yeah, no, that's not the reason. Increase the recharge from 6 to 10. Decrease the damage. Alright, we're on to Ellie. Yeah, I skipped Dervish because, well, for good reason, guys. Because it wasn't that fun. What else we got? Fireball. Ooh, Fireball, a staple of Fire Ellies. Going from adjacent to nearby. That's cool. That has a huge ramification across the game. Hydras use fire. Lots of enemies use Fireball. Fireball is a core skill, guys. Fireball is all over the fucking place. Wow. They've upped it to nearby. The poetic name? No. Because I love to play Twister. It's my favorite pastime? No. I'm missing Mirage Cloak in the room. Sorry, did I not read Mirage Cloak carefully? Well, they've nerfed Mirage Cloak, right? So was Mirage Cloak really, really crazy? What have I missed about Mirage Cloak? I love the band Twisted Sister. No. Alright, look, you guys aren't going to get it. A couple of years ago, I did a couple of like semi-joke videos in which I discussed skill art. I did a top 10 skill art video of all art. We looked at every single skill icon in all of Guild Wars 1, and I analysed carefully and scientifically every single icon in the game, and I did a top 10. I also did a bottom 10. I did the best and the worst, and Mystic Twister won. You can't really see because they've got the shitty low-res version of it there, but the high-res version of Mystic Twister, look at that skill art. It's beautiful. I fucking love that skill art. The symmetry on it, it's incredible. Favorite skill. Alright, anyway, moving on. Gust is a little bit higher recharge. They reduced its range. I think that's pretty big. Weren't people using Gust a lot in like GBGs? Kinetic Armor. Now, this is a super tanky spell. You gain plus 80 armor, guys, and it's scaling, actually. So if you manage to bump up to 21 through cons, it's 104 armor. That's fucking mad. And don't you get block on it as well? No, and it renews whenever you cast a spell. So it's kind of like your own little refrain, almost. And they've increased the effect duration from 8 to 12 seconds. 40% more duration. And they halved the recharge from 30 to 60. That's so cool. Wow, I love that. That's amazing. That is super fun. Even if it accidentally drops now, it's not quite so punishing to reapply because you get it more than once every minute. Lightning Strike. Oh, nerf for some lightning stuff. Oh, Lightning Surge goes up to 15 energy. Ah. Alright, so they've brought the fire ellies in. They've lowered the air ellies a bit. Sandstorm, iconic fucking Nightfall skill. You can't fight the crag elementals and stuff without sandstorms going all over the place, and they hurt. What has Arenanet done now? They will spam those sandstorms against you more. They do more damage, but the bonus damage is the same. Interesting. Ten Eyes Wind is a little bit more expensive. And Thunderclap. Thunderclap now has a higher range. That's a fun one, because that's cracked armor and weakness spreading, which is big and is fun to play with with your heroes. Alright. I like the Ellie stuff. So far, Ellie is my favourite. Assassin is below. Dervish is at the bottom. Right, let's move on to Mesmer. Okay, so there should be nerfs here. I will tell you whether these are a staple of current Mesmer metagaming, okay? And whether I think a nerf is justified. So Arcane Conundrum, is it a staple of Mesmer metagaming? Yes. It's an AoE hex that you throw out there. It slows them down a bit, but the real thing is when you kill them, which you're gonna blow up those enemies in PvE. The hex ends, and you get energy out of each one. So you spend 10 energy on casting Arcane Conundrum, but if you hit 3 targets with it and they all die, you get a huge refund. This is basically energy management, and increasing the recharge seems like a genius way to just shave it down a bit. I think that's very good. Auspicious Incantation is actually a skill a lot of people use. They've reduced the recharge. That's interesting. Clumsiness is a staple of the Illusion Mesmers. Increase the recharge a bit. Reduce the damage. I don't know whether this is called for. I think maybe a shave, fine, but maybe that's too big of a shave. I expect to see its buddies in here as well. I expect to see the Elite and the Signet, and they're not. Interesting. Conjure Phantasm now lasts for longer. That's like a nothing burger of a skill. Who gives a shit? Arenanet. 2 fucking seconds? Meh. A big fat meh on that. When we're thinking about illusion magic, we're thinking about fighting against Eboggers, of course. We're thinking about fighting Stone Summit, I think. Ice magic would have been Stone Summit as well, and lots of stuff there about the Shiver Peaks, but that was not touched this patch. Crippling Anguish, of course, Stone Summit here. It's cheaper. Ooh, and they've increased the degen. Shiver Peaks a little bit harder. Cry of Frustration. Okay, this is a massive skill. This is a huge AoE interrupt and a nuke. And AI is amazing with it, as it is with all good interrupts. Okay, so it's got a longer cooldown here. And the AoE damage goes down. That is a direct nerf against the Mesmer meta. And it makes certain areas of PvE a little bit easier as well. Again, aren't we dealing with the Stone Summit again here? Don't they use Cry of Frustration on you a lot? Who uses Cry of Frustration? Maybe there's some Eye of the North guys that use it. Some of those meta fucking Winds of Change and War and Kryta comps might have been using that. Enchanter's Conundrum? The AoE damage is going down? Boo! Nobody uses Enchanter's Conundrum. Boo! That fucking sucks, Arenanet. At least give it a day in the sun, if it even would have had one. Boo! Enchanter's Conundrum... What? Sorry, what I was trying to say there is Enchanter's Conundrum is cool. Unjustified. Energy Drain. This is amazing. Big OG skill. I used to love this. One of the first elites I ever got. I used to love playing with this in PvP. And they've reduced the recharge. That's fun. I like that. Energy Surge. This is big. And the direct damage is still reasonable. I don't know. We'll see what the number crunchers come to on this. But very good idea. Very strong. Brilliant change. Illusionary Weaponry. The recharge comes down. The damage goes up to 50. Oh, I like that. Also, one of my favorite skills. I used to farm cave trolls outside of Drox Forge with this bad boy. And I could now farm those trolls a bit better, I guess. And I used to use... there were some PvP builds I did with this as well. I used to play a Sword Shield Mesmer, I think, with Illusory Weaponry. Storm Riders and Wind Riders. That's right. That's why I'm thinking of Eye of the North, because of all those ones that patrol around outside of Ratasum and stuff. Yeah, so they're a little bit safer. Honestly, I can't think of any PvE mobs that use Illusionary Weaponry. Images of Remorse gets a cheeky little cast time drop, which we don't really care about when we're Mesmer, by the way. Any of this, if you see activation time anywhere on this Mesmer section, we don't care. So let's run a quick little Control F. Yeah, that's the only one time they did it, and it doesn't really matter. Migraine. Again, scary stuff. The duration goes up, but not the damage on this one. Mistrust, again, direct nerf to overpowered shit from those later Mesmer patches. The patch came in, what, in 2010? And here it is in 2026 coming down. Overload they've hit as well. Maybe Overload was a bit less called for. Mistrust also affects, like, incoming... What is it? Is it like Ghostly Horsemen use Mistrust against you? Or is it I'm just remembering using them against them in the underworld? Mistrust is actually a very important skill, if not one of the most important domination skills. Every bit as big as Cry of Frustration. Preemptively getting those early interrupts is just insanely strong. So the fact they reduced the flat damage and the AoE, this is a big nerf. This directly makes shit like these LE changes and the warrior change, the melee hero AI and stuff all look a lot juicier, and basically removes a lot of power creep from the game. I like this. This is all good stuff, guys. Power Flux, they've increased the recharge. My memory of that is that is an interrupt that if you land it, it hexes the foe with energy degeneration, which is really, really nasty feeling in PvP. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I guess PvPers were using it? I don't know. Why do we care about nerfing that? Power Lock, boo. Who cares? No one was using Power Lock. Psychic Instability. This, again, this is actually another really amazing Mesmer dominance skill. But rather than being S tier, this was more like A tier. And often got crowded out. It was often the case where it felt like, oh, because I'm running tons of Energy Surge Mesmers, I'm just not going to run PI. PI was kind of like a slightly different comp, more knockdown oriented, and I love PI. I actually would have rathered Arenanet leave this alone on this patch, to be honest. Just so that, you know, you can drop some copies of Energy Surge, but if you still want to use Mesmers, PI is maybe an option. What this is this is an AoE knockdown on the entire group, and so it's really good on heroes. You run in right as the enemies have balled up, and then PI knocks them all on the floor for ages. Really fucking cool. To be honest, even though they've nerfed the recharge, the gameplay flow is such that you kind of just want one PI per packet of mobs, one PI per fight, and it's still in that range, so I don't know. It might still be worth playing. Signal of Illusions. Change functionality to your next 1 to 3... Oh, what? Oh. No, that is... How is that changed? Huh? I don't understand. Change functionality to your next 1 to 3 non-illusion spells. Use your illusion attribute instead of their normal attribute. Is that not what it always was? Skill history. Ugh. See, this isn't fun to browse. What was it before? Yeah, and this has great synergy with the Inspired tree line. I love the idea of having a Blue Mage Mesmer that runs Signet of Illusion plus Inspired Hex and Arcane Thievery and all that. I would love a slight rework to them to make them work a bit more. It's the non-illusion spell part. You can bring illusion spells with it now. Oh, I see. Under the previous balance... If you cast Signet of Illusions and then an illusion magic spell, it would consume the charge. So it would be a bit annoying and a bit weird. It would lock you in a bit of an annoying way. But now you can pre-cast a Signet of Illusions, and even if you're now using illusion spells, it's not wasting the charges, right? It doesn't even have a duration on there. It's just infinite duration. So you can, it will only proc on the right thing. Is that the idea? You would waste spells sometimes accidentally and drain the signet charges. That's amazing. That's a great QOL change. That's beautiful. That's really fun. I like that a lot. That makes it very easy to flex in on a lot of different bars. And again, you got to think from the perspective of the AI. The artificial intelligence wasn't necessarily very good at mathing all of that out and figuring that out. And in fact, what was the change up here? And on top of that, they increased the casting priority. Oh, that's so cool. Holy shit. Blue. Should we try and make a blue mage? That's nice. I like that. Unfortunately, I can't think of any, like, really iconic enemy groups that run on Signet of Illusions or really play with the Inspired attribute line. So I don't think it's going to change the PvE experience for us much. Shatter Delusions. Oof. I don't know what that was called for, but okay, fine. Yeah, the AoE damage goes down too. Signal of Humility. Oh, now this one's interesting. This stops people using their elite skill, but locks you out of your non-mesmer skills. Now you're not locked out for so long. It says from 10 to 4 here, but it's actually much more serious than that. It's from 16 to 4, as far as I can read here. Oh, no, sorry. No, it's not. That's how long the elite is disabled for. Yeah, this is a cool idea, and I think this could be really fun if Arenanet put that on more enemy bars. Because you really feel that. When you're a player and you feel your elite gets disabled, it's a big moment. And it itself is not an elite, so they could put on a lot of grunts. It could show up in normal mode all over the place. But I don't really know where it appears in the game. Oh, T's got nerfed. Must be PvP related. Lame. I don't really remember T's being used in PvE. Who gives a fuck about T's in PvE? Oh, reduce the energy of your targets. Nothing burger of a change. Wastrel's Demise has also got a little bit longer on the recharge time. Again, you're a mesmer. You're casting these things very fast. I know this time it's recharge, not cast, but still. Wastrel's Worry as well also has gone down, and they've reduced the... That's interesting. They've allowed the Wastrel's Demise damage to stay, but not kept the Wastrel's Worry damage. That's very weird. Interesting. Wastrel's Worry actually is kind of nicer as well as far as the damage is concerned, because you don't even have to wait for it to ramp. I mean, you do, but you get payoff immediately from it. But hey, maybe they thought it was too much maths. I don't know. Right, over to Monk. Okay, so now what's my favorite? I think these were generally very good. There's a couple of iffy ones in there, but I think overall very good. And I'm glad they had the confidence to go for it. Is this what inspired that ranting lunatic comment we got yesterday with the all caps? Who knows? Right, Monk. It looks like we have a lot of healing prayer stuff. This one right here is the biggest change of the patch, guys. So I'm excited to get to this. This is crazy. This Ray of Judgment change is mental. Let's work our way to it, though. First of all, Balthazar's Aura. It's a smiting enchantment. For 8 seconds, any foes adjacent to your ally will take holy damage every second. Holy damage obviously gets doubled against undead. So the idea here is you enchant the warrior that's just ran in and he's now got better AI. This cost 25 mana before. Can I just point out, 25 energy on a monk skill is like seriously killing it. Monk is the one profession in the game that has like shitty energy management tools. Like, its primary doesn't scale energy. It's not like Soul Reaping, right? It's not like energy storage. And unlike Mesmer, who has fast casting and also gets screwed out of it, Mesmer, at the very least, had an entire line dedicated to energy management, sort of, in Inspiration. Monk had no such thing. Monk was always relying on its secondaries and some sort of, you know, very specific signets and fringe things to give it its energy. High energy cost was always painful for monks. This is such... Why was this ever so high? Do we have a fun skill history page? It was always 25? Really? Really? Why? They fixed a bug. In 2005, they increased the casting time and the recharge. Wow. Well, anyway, we're down to 15, which is much more rational. It's a 1-second cast, which is much more rational. The recharge comes down, and they give you a bit more damage on it as well as a sweetener. That's nice. Would I run that on a hero? I don't know. Maybe. Bring on the smiting, guys. You think it was because of Warrior Monk? Whammos would enchant themselves with it, and then just... They would use signets and adrenaline skills for all their other stuff, so they don't care about the fact they just nuke their energy bar? Maybe. I don't know. What enemies use that? I don't know. What are some smiting foes? Undead, ironically, can use a lot of smiting magic against you in some places, right? Dating Balthazar ain't cheap. Cure Hex gets a nerf. This is a big fucking heal skill across all formats. It's one of these very role consolidated skills where you see that you're getting rid of a hex and you're providing a heal at the same time. Divert Hexes has been nerfed, sort of. You can cast it quicker so you can react with it, which is very important for an elite monk spell. But the recharge is slightly higher. I don't know, that feels like a shuffle. Wow, Guardian, that is a staple, guys. And it's getting a nerf. That's a PvP shake-up if I've ever seen one. Healing Burst. So there's a lot of dead healing elites. Let's see what they can do to try to create some equity between them. Target ally gets a heal. All party members in earshot also get a heal equal to your divine favor. And this is in the hero healing prayers line. The recharge goes up, but so does the healing. By how much? They didn't list in the notes. Let's see in the skill history. It was... Hold on, sorry. Okay, so it's nerfed. In 2010, it went up to 160. When they say adjusted, okay, it went down. Okay, so this one's nerfed. Healing. So, by the way, what am I talking about? HB is obviously not a dead fucking... Well, no, but when we say HB, we mean Healer's Boon, don't we? I don't know. Was Healing Burst being used a lot? I think it was. Okay, so it's nerfed. I think that's fair. I think they're going to be really scared to buff some of these, by the way, because they're scared of, like, Dolyak bosses or whatever. Any healing monk boss stalling the player base out too long if they get too strong. Healing Hands gets a very chunky recharge reduction. Whenever a target ally takes damage, they get healed by a little bit. You still can't really maintain it very well. Even if you assume a 20% enchantment mod, you're only getting 12-second duration out of it. But it's better, at least. Healing Hands will trigger even if the damage is taken to 0. Also, it's technically health gain and not healing, so it won't bounce off of other forms of healing buffs, which is a shame. Okay, here we go. Ray of Judgment. Oh my god. It now casts in a single second. They can cast it faster, and they increase the damage. Okay, Ray of Judgment was a classically dead smiting prayers elite. As a dead smiting prayers elite was fine on afflicted. Afflicted monks are all over the place in Cantha. You're basically fighting them the whole way through the campaign. And when you toggle into hard mode, all of those monks get an elite skill. The elite skill they got was Ray of Judgment. Now, under the previous effects, like its original effect, okay? It was just a nuke of damage, but it would delay your other stuff. It was kind of an anti-Minion Mancer spell, right? And it was totally tolerable. But they reworked it right before the end of the day. Oh my god, I say in 2008, trust me, this was already Guild Wars 1's Twilight, trust me. They changed its functionality completely. They made it like an LE nuke. They made it like Firestorm. They gave it a really special visual, like a big beam of light that conjures down and explodes in an area. And with that original buff, it was so strong. Everyone was using it all over the place. And it made factions really deadly and really scary. It scared the fuck out of people. So they nerfed it in a follow-up patch, is my memory. I guess they didn't. Weird. They nerfed something about it. Was it some scaling? Oh, no, here you go. This is when they made it the beam of light. Wait, at Nightfall's release? No, that's not right. I thought they nerfed it. I'm wrong. I really thought that this had been nerfed. I guess not. It's just been strong ever since. And ended up just falling to the wayside as other patches came in. Anyway, this was a huge... When they made this change in functionality and created the laser beams, the Jesus beams is what everyone called them. It kind of dominated. It was so scary. And now they've just buffed it again. So yeah, this made factions scarier again. I think it's amazing though, and I'm very excited to load up a bunch of Ray of Judgment monks and maybe see some Smiting Prayers teams. Is it going to be as good as E-Surge? No, but E-Surge just got nerfed. So the gap is not that big. You're not making a huge mistake, right? Anymore. To experiment and have fun and try some of these other ideas. And we live in a world now where we have mercenary heroes and lots of choices. Shield of Deflection got a lower recharge. That's cool. Shield of Regeneration. This was very expensive. Aha! And it's cheaper now. Oh my god. And wait, they adjusted the armor. So are we getting less armor now? Symbol of Wrath. Reduce the activation time. Now, if I remember rightly, aren't these copies of each other? No, they're not. Sorry. Symbol of Wrath is, again, basically just another AoE. You place it down. I mean, Guild Wars 2 Symbol of Wrath is very similar. Cast it quicker. Shorter recharge. Increased damage. Pulses at their target's location instead of the caster's. Wow. Guys, you could combine a lot of these together. You could combine the new Balthazar's Aura with the new Symbol of Wrath with the Ray of Judgment buff. And probably make a pretty fun smiting monk. Like a hybrid, like a 50-50 healer that then uses some of the Smiting Prayer support as well. I don't know. That's looking like a strong build. I bet people have been playing with that. Oh, they split these skills. Symbol of Wrath and Kirin's Wrath. That was what they were. It used to be the same as Kirin's Wrath. But now they have separate functionality. Ah, I see. So what did Kirin's become? Okay, moving into Necro. Lots of fun stuff here, guys. Necro, my understanding is this has been a big minion patch because pretty much all of the minion skills are quicker to cast now, so your heroes won't lag behind so much. And fighting enemies in PvE is also notable. They'll be able to summon them. Oh, by the way, the only thing I don't like about the Ray of Judgment thing is the activation time. I think that should stay at 2 seconds. Because it's iconic to see the afflicted monk slowly casting up the big scary skill. I think this is the thing. Arenanet, if you're going to roll anything back, roll this back. I think big prominent activation times are fine on iconic skills. And, you know, I think they should leave this. I think this is the mistake here. I think leave it at 2. So that players can position, they can see them coming, they can move away. All that sort of shit. Anyway, and, you know, I'm scared. Can I just say, I'm scared of Guild Wars 1 going the same way of Guild Wars 2, where all the activation times just come down and there's no weight to anything. And am I convinced they see that threat? I'm not convinced. I think they'll just do it. And look, we got it here. So I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about this a bit. Energy costs for the Fiends chunked down. This is amazing, right? Bone Fiends were already, like, the highest DPS in the game. It was like... Fully, properly set up Bone Fiends is at the top, but it's so difficult to set up, it's not worth it. Dagger spam below that. And then we get into, like, strong caster builds and stuff is like, below that. Like, the Energy Surge comps and stuff. Skills like Cryo Frustration. But look, you got Bone Horror has come down. Bone Minions has come down. Flesh Golem has come down. Shambling Horror, Vampiric Horror, all of them. All the minions. This does make Aura of the Lich look a bit worse by reflection. Aura of the Lich is the instant army elite, right? But who cares about getting an instant army if you've got so much QOL on all this shit anyway? So I don't know whether I agree with all of that, honestly, Arenanet. Also, the balance of Soul Reaping and the price... Soul Reaping is what it is because these prices are what they are. So are they setting themselves up for a Soul Reaping nerf? Maybe. Now this I'm more interested in. Blood Ritual, casting quicker. More methods of getting batteries. Consume Corpse is a bit more available. Feast of Corruption. I don't know. I don't know whether I see me running some of these. Ravenous Gaze now. Rotwallows and shit spam this on you, right? Spiteful Spirit got a change. Hey! They increased the damage of SS. That's cool. This was a farming staple for years. Spiteful Spirit was the way to farm enemies. Has it been brought back to its previous grandeur? When was it nerfed? If it was nerfed. 35 shadow damage. This is so weird. I remember Spiteful Spirit being nerfed. I seriously remember it being nerfed. Am I crazy? It was never nerfed? Well, that's cool. I'm well up for a Spiteful Spirit buff. That's really fucking cool. Vampiric Spirit. Reduced activation time by half. Increase the health steal. Nah. Oh, Various Gaze. They've added heal the minion when you claim it. When you claim a masterless minion. In addition to the stuff we saw at the top. That's fun as well. So, AI mobs will create minions faster now, and you can use your tech, Various Gaze, to steal them, and it feels good. It feels like a good counter. It feels like a good tech play for that mission or that area or whatever. I actually dream of a toolbox add-on that gives you a little skill recommendation list before every mission, or while you're in an outpost, recommendation for your next Vanquish, of, hey, this skill, this skill, this skill will be good for this mission, right? And they could talk about Various Gaze being a cool tech choice. Or, you know, this element is good to use, right? Because you're going to fight a lot of ice golems here, so fire magic is strong. Or blunt damage is strong, because you're going to be fighting a lot of gargoyles or whatever. I think that would be really, really cool. And I'd love to do a Let's Play with that on as well. And then you change your team build a lot each time. Whale of Doom. Increase effect to 2 to 6 seconds. 6 seconds of 0 attributes. That's fun. I've always loved this. We talked about this on Mistbound yesterday. Weaken armor. Reduce the activation time to half. Oh my god, my throat is going. My throat is going, and it's 2:30 in the morning. Alright, do you know what, guys? I'm going to stop it here. We're going to finish... We're doing this show daily. Why do I have to do it all in one day? We'll finish the Guild Wars 1 skill balance tomorrow. Fuck it. We'll watch the Reforge trailer. We'll do the mobile app stuff. And we will finish the balance notes next time. Because it's very late, guys. I got to stop. It's so late and my throat hurts. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. It's 2 hours. There you go. 2 hours Guild Wars 2 daily. Guild Wars 3 daily. Guild Wars Reforge daily. Whatever. Thank you, everybody. If you've got some thoughts for me, if you want to scan ahead and drop those comments early, then that'll be lots of fun as well. Otherwise, if you want to talk about Guild Wars 3, drop those too, and I will see you on the next part next time. Thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoy. See you next time.